Happy Friday, everyone. Evan Smith here from Second Presbyterian Church here in downtown Stanton, and I'm coming to you today with your daily Lenten devotional. Today we're looking at Matthew chapter 5, verses 20 through 26, and it's a really great passage from the Sermon on the Mount, this long collection of sayings that Matthew assembled into what's called just one sermon, the Sermon on the Mount. And it really is Jesus elevating the law beyond what was just written to get to the heart behind everything. So let's listen to this reading. He says, "For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, 'You shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment.' But I say to you that if you are angry with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. And if you insult a brother or sister, you will be liable to the council. And if you say, 'You fool,' you will be liable to the hell of fire. So when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother or sister, and then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are on the way to court with him, or your accuser may hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you will be thrown into prison. Truly I tell you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny." So Jesus starts with this one bit of Old Testament law, and he says, you've heard it said, "You shall not murder." And in some ways, I think Jesus is kind of trying to throw like a softball at people. Like, there's a lot of sins I wrestle with, a lot of things that each day I'm like, don't do that. But you know what I don't really wrestle with? And I'm betting that you're the same way. I don't really wrestle with murder. It's not like, I really just want to murder today, but I can't because I know God doesn't want me to. And so he starts with this thing that seems so easy that people are probably not even concerning themselves that much with it, like this idea of not murdering somebody. And Jesus says, though, "But I say, if you have anger in your heart towards them, that's a lot like murder." And how can that be? I think what he's doing is he's getting behind what really, leads into murder. And that's almost always this anger. Have you ever heard somebody say, I'm just so angry at that person that they're dead to me now? It's that idea. Sometimes we can allow our anger with someone to grow to such an extent that it's like we've murdered them in our heart, and we just say they're dead to us now. And so Jesus says, you've heard it said, don't murder. I say even anger is an issue with that because of what I've laid out there. Jesus then says something else that's really wonderful. He says, if you're coming before the altar of God and you're about to present an offering, and you remember that someone has something against you, not, by the way, you have something against someone else. Usually that's when we talk about forgiveness and the need to forgive, we would say like, if you're bearing a grudge against someone, you need to find a way to let that go. But how often have you known, they're mad at me for this and I can't believe they think I did this, but I didn't do anything, or it wasn't that wrong, or they misunderstood. Jesus here puts the impetus for reconciliation of relationships, not on the person who feels that they were wronged, but on the one who that the other person, it gets all confusing, feels that someone else has wronged them. If I said that right, whatever, I'm plowing on. You know what I'm trying to say. The impetus is if you know someone's holding something against you, you're responsible for going to that person. Whether you think it's valid or not, whether you think they should be mad at you or not, if you know someone has a grudge against you, Jesus says, leave your gift at the altar and go and be reconciled. Why? Because I think sometimes if people have something against us, they can be so wounded and so angry that they can't take the first step, and they need somebody to take that first step. And Jesus says, we are the ones, if we know someone has a grudge against us, we are the ones who are to take that first step. This is a great passage. They're all great passages, but this is such a great passage, a great life lesson for us. As we're doing this Lenten journey, I challenge you today, if you know someone has something against you, whether you think it's right or not, do what Jesus says here. leave your effective gift at the altar and go seek reconciliation. If you have anger that you know you've been holding on to in your heart, seek forgiveness from God and seek to let go. And I think we'll find we'll be a lot healthier if we do. And that is our word for the day. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please click the like button, maybe even share it on your own page. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. I'll see you here tomorrow, and goodbye.